All right, we are recording Sisterhood team call. It is October 28th. I'm so excited that all of you guys are here. Let's do announcements after the call because I really value Kayla's time and I want to dive right into it. I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about herself, but I'll just introduce her by saying that Kayla is somebody that I started following on Instagram maybe 6 months ago, and I didn't follow her religiously, but every time she would pop up, I was like, oh yes, like that really like hit the right spot for me right now. And just every time I saw her content, it really added so much value to my content, how I felt about my business going forward, gave me tips, like all the good things. So more recently, I know a lot of you guys alongside Erin and I attended her 5-day Stop the Hate Girl Challenge, and it was incredible. I have really done like a 180 in terms of how I am looking at my content, how I am serving my audience, and really trying to offer more value, what's in it for them. So you have already done so much for this team, I think. And so it's a real honor to have you on this call. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. And we are just so excited to hear you speak. So I am going to get out of the way and pass it over to Kayla.
What's up, guys? It's so funny. I haven't done a call in forever. I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling a little rusty, but I'm excited for what we're talking about today. Let me share my screen. So we got a nice little fun topic here. It's one of my favorite things to think about, and this is some different stuff than what we talked about in the Stop the Hate Girl Challenge last week. But just to give you guys first, just a little background on what we're talking about. These are kind of like the hybrid topics, really defining personal brand, which is more important going into 2021 more than anything, so that you can stand out on social media, stand out from your team, and just really embody who you are and make an even bigger impact. And then, of course, making genuine connections and increasing sales, utilizing Instagram without icky random messages. There's ways to be strategic about it. But of course, the tacticals for the sales and invites come later, but before we can even get into that, it's really important to make sure that we're defining really who we are, what we're showing up for, and why anyone should pay attention to us. Ooh, that was weird. What just happened? Oh, there we go. I was like, rude. So just a little bit of background on me. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm an Instagram and business strategist for network marketers. My last name's crazy. It's pronounced Ybanez. I don't blame me if you got it wrong. Blame my husband. I should have kept Tucker, but I digress. I have over 14 years of experience in marketing, public relations, sales, and events. I love kind of sharing this fun little factoid because I know a lot of you are kind of from my generation, if you will. I started most of my marketing career working on a little project back in the Disney days called High School Musical. So I did a lot of stuff with the cast of that, and it was such a fun chapter of my life. And really the most fun part is that my team graphic designer, we actually met on that project. And now in our late 20s and now into 30s, we get to work together. So it's a really fun full circle moment. But of course, like a lot of people, like a lot of you, we leave our passion to do what we're expected to do. So I went into corporate doing first marketing, advertising, and then I moved into more of like a family business doing dispatch and marketing in a heating and cooling company. Like, Kayla, what the were you doing there? I asked myself that question every day, but I thought I needed to work for someone else for safety and security of a predictable paycheck to provide for my family, and realized that that actually was not the case in a male-dominated industry where women are not respected. So I decided that, or actually the universe decided, my daughter got very sick in 2018 and I needed to be her full-time caregiver. And so it basically was the universe telling me, now's the time to give that terrible corporate job the finger so that you can be here for your family and do what you're meant to do. So that's where I came into today. I have been actually in Beachbody for almost 10 years now. and learned so much. I was what you might call a really good salesperson, hitting Success Club like a mother effer, going to all the parties, doing all the cool things and qualifying for all the pictures at Summit. But I learned through trying to build a team and hitting roadblocks really what was missing from trainings in regards to team building and how to build a team for longevity versus just hitting rank in a moment. And so that's where I developed my Stop the Hey Girl and true attraction marketing system. And then just further edifying, I love to say this, like, who am I and why should you listen to me, right? Because if I don't tell you, you're like, who's this random chick with, goofy blonde hair on the internet? But through the systems that I teach and what I'm teaching you today, I personally have generated almost $1 million of revenue in just under 2 years, teaching business owners like you how to monetize your passion in a feel-good way and really own who you are. So how to create and grow a sustainable business without sending cold messages is the MO, but really, I want you to love your business. That's my goal for everyone that crosses my path, no matter what methods you use to build it. I don't want it to feel like a chore because of all the things you could choose to do professionally. Entrepreneurship is hard. It tests you in ways that I never knew I could be tested. And so how can we find a way through the hard stuff to literally love every step of the process? And so that's what I love talking about. But really defining your brand, again, is something that I think this industry needs more of, because as Beachbody grows, as network marketing grows, there's, of course, more and more people not only getting into the business, but are familiar with the business. So what worked when I started in 2011 is vastly different from what's working right now. And unfortunately, a lot of the things that go around, corporate's cool, but I think they're a little behind in the times. They're not in it on a day-to-day basis like we are. And so that's where I come in to take all the glory from them. But no, defining really who you are is so important so that people not only can differentiate you from other coaches, but also they're going to connect to who you are because that's what they're buying. They're buying you. They're not buying the products. So I would screenshot this. Of course, you're going to have the recording. This is a lot to write down, but these are questions that if you cannot answer these immediately without taking a breath, this needs to be a priority, because these are the questions that people are kind of asking themselves when they're deciding whether they want to buy from you. They want to know, like, is her superpower something that I need? What are her brand's core values? Do they align with mine? Is she the person who is looking for people like me? Am I looking for someone like her? And there's a reason why we buy from, Target, Amazon, these trusted places, because we trust them. We don't shop necessarily from sketchy online websites because we don't have an established relationship and we don't have that trust with them. And so brand is one of the first ways that people begin to trust you, because they connect, they relate, and they feel like they know you. So we got, who are you excited to show up for? People can tell if you're not showing up for people who you're excited to show up for. That's just a non-negotiable. And then, of course, products aside, you hear me talk about this a lot. Products aside, why should someone buy from you? They can buy Shakeology on like Amazon, eBay, and other random places. They can get it from just Google searching. Why should they buy it from you? And being able to answer that through your online presence helps them make an easier decision. So here's just an example of how I answer some of these questions myself, right? Like, my non-negotiable is I'm not willing to show up to people for people who aren't going to give 100%. Like, it's a waste of everyone's time. Assholes drives me crazy. What's important to me? Integrity, honesty. My brand is welcoming. Like, you can sit with us, but I'm also going to tell it like it is. Like, no nonsense. Like, if you want to build a business, here's a way to do it. Try it. Let me know what happens. About me, I'm a leader by nature. I'm approachable, but I'm still direct. So being able to answer why someone should pay attention, listen to, and work from you is very important in defining your brand. So how can you incorporate your brand, right? You answer these questions. How do they show up in your Instagram? And this is really honestly what's dictating the content that you're creating every single day. Who are you showing up for? What is it that they want? And how can you give it to them? How can you show them that you are the person who can solve their problems? And on this topic as well, especially in 2020, having an inclusive business is more important than ever. And part of having an inclusive business is creating free content that gives ultimate value to people even if they're not paying for it. And that's one of my core principles as well, which you guys all saw in the challenge, right? And so over delivery is another huge piece that's important to me. So we talked about this in the challenge as well, but with bio, ultimately, I like to look at it this way. Who the heck are you excited to show up for? And what's that ultimate transformation you provide? You provide a lot of transformations to a lot of people. What one is so juicy that it's going to stop someone on your page and have them go like, holy crap, I need this person in my life? Put that in your bio. And then of course, if you guys want to see the more in-depth training, if you still need to get into the Facebook group, you can go and view that there, because I want to honor the crap out of your time. But here are just some examples of really powerful bios that I've seen some people create. And I was like, ooh, this is perfect. I'm going to share it. I help toddler moms prioritize themselves so their coffee is always hot. Like, holy crap, is that something that these moms understand and that they want? I help career moms earn their own fun money for Thursday night happy hours. Of course, you know, COVID kind of affects that. But what's important to them is they want to be able to have money so they can do something for themselves, not just to be mom and to be someone's wife. They want to be able to have time to be their own individual. And so communicating that in your bio is key. And you can see these bios are very, very different and serve different people, but you know what? They're both Beachbody coaches, but they're helping people with different things. The products are like the accessory to the outfit. They're providing different outfits, even if the accessory is the same. And then of course, Instagram stories. One of the biggest tactics for gaining trust with an audience so that they're ready to buy is how you show up on Instagram stories. Instagram stories and video content is the king of all kings in this business. And so I like to look at it this way. There's like 3 main types of content that you want to be creating on the regular for Instagram stories. And you might find that you're only doing one, and now we get to fix that. So teaching, this is where that free content comes into play, right? Having an inclusive business, very important. So I like to make it a point, and I schedule this in my calendar. So if you're a paper planner person, awesome. I use iCal. Doing 2 to 3 mini trainings per week. So what is your superpower? What are people always asking you? Answer that in your content. And what's so awesome about this is once you kind of get this rolling, you can repurpose these from your archive so that you don't have to create brand new crap all the time. So if you're busy, you only work your business in power pockets of your day, you don't have to film a brand new mini training. You can go to your archive, scroll back to August, and pull one back out. And so I pretty much follow the same mini training format. Here's what I'm going to teach you. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And then usually some sort of call to action. Vote in this poll. Was this helpful? DM me, what other ideas do you have? And the reason why I always structure it this way, it's so when I scroll my archive, I actually can tell, ooh, this is a mini training. So subtitling these is also key. All of your stories, because otherwise, when you scroll your archive, you're going to have to listen to everything to find what you're looking for. If you want to be even more effective, I would keep track of the dates and the titles of mini trainings in like the notes section of your phone so that they're even easier to find. So you're not like Kayla, who just does like, you know, round and round she goes, where she stops, we're going to pick that mini training. Sometimes that's fun though. Relatable connection and rapport building content. So showing aspects of your life that have nothing to do with your business. So whatever you're comfortable showing, it doesn't have to be about your family, but what are you interested in? I talk a lot about makeup and like hair stuff because I spend a lot of money on it and I love it. And that's how I start most of my conversations, are people being like, holy crap, what are those lashes? And I'm like, here's a picture. I got them at Walgreens. And the next thing you know, we're talking about Beachbody. And it really does get to be that simple when you're acting like a normal person and talking how you normally talk. Another type of content I love to put in this category is showing behind the scenes of your business. Like what is actually required, not just the fun and sexy stuff, but like, are you working on creating a training plan for your new coaches? Are you going through and editing content pictures you shot the weekend before? Really showing us a lot of what you do helps prepare your audience to make the decision as if they can do this. And I've talked about this with a lot of people, especially recently. If you can pre-qualify potential business builders in your content and help them feel like they are educated enough and have skills to bring to the table to be successful in this business, when you invite them, they're going to be much more likely to be open to it because they're like, yeah, I can do that. I do know how to do things in Google Drive. I do know how to record a video. I can edit something in the Splice app or whatever that happens to be. And how do they learn this stuff? Sometimes they have experience through jobs and life, but you can also teach them through your content so that they have skills necessary to be successful. So that's one of my biggest tips of like 2020, is that's one of the biggest game changers. And then of course, like inspiring to action. This is different than just being inspiring. And maybe you have this happen a lot. People tell you that you're inspiring, but then they don't act. Well, there are things that you can do about it. And one of the biggest things is being so specific, and don't be afraid of triggering people about who you work with and who you don't. This pulls people off of the fence who are like, I appreciate your no bullshit attitude. This is great. That's exactly who I want in my life. So I bring back the same post about once per quarter, and the hook is something like, I don't work with assholes. And I brought it back maybe 3, maybe 4 times now. And every single time it does better than the time before, because people resonate with that. So no passive language here. What is the type of person you're looking for? And what is the type of person who you're like, I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm not going to sign them because it's going to completely ruin the vibe that I'm going for and what my brand represents. So with 5 pillars of your brand, I don't want to overwhelm people of like, holy crap, I have to think of 5 things. I like to look at it this way. If your life was a TV show or a movie, what are the characters, meaning like a person, place, or a thing, that show up consistently? Like for me, it's my makeup and my hair. It shows up a lot. That's one of my pillars, talking about random beauty finds that I spend way too much money on. My daughter's story is a pillar of my brand that's kind of shifting because she's doing really well and has her final surgery tomorrow. Hallelujah. So that is kind of shifting. But for a while, our life revolved around her ongoing almost monthly surgeries. So that was huge, but it's shifting. So what things are really coming up for you? Other examples of pillars can be like, let's say if you're a certified nutritionist, that's big. Let's say you're a personal trainer, that's a big part of your brand. So start to kind of, get the wheels turning on what are these pillars. And the reason why we talk about them is because you want your content to kind of rotate through these pillars. And let's say you haven't talked about one in a long time. If you're ever sitting there like, crap, what should I post? Ooh, I haven't touched on this pillar in a long time. I'm going to bring out a post about that. The other piece is going to be key brand stories. And this is like one of my favorite things to work through with clients is people might forget your username or your name, but they will never forget your stories. There have been people who have like lost me, but have found me remembering the stories that I told, mostly surrounded by building my business while my daughter was in the hospital. And so they'll forget. They forgot my name. I don't blame them. Ybanez is crazy, but they remembered that story. So examples of some of these stories that you want to tell often would be like the aha moment when you joined this business. Like maybe you had a crazy story where you talked crap about network marketing and then you realized, ooh, this actually was an opportunity for me. Maybe your story is that you actually quit 2 times and now you're going all in. So that can be a perfect example of really showing that it's not all such sunshine and rainbows and it took some time for you to commit. That's relatable, it's real. What clicked for you when you decided that you wanted to actually create a full-time income and build a team? Was there something someone said? Was it something that happened at your job that made you decide, screw it, I'm leaving by the end of 2021? And then another one that I don't think we talk about enough, and I even have to gut check myself on this, is what was that moment that you knew who you wanted to help, and why is that so important? Because if you want to attract a certain type of person, a certain caliber type of leader, talk about how you knew that it was your mission to help them. Because we're in a service-based business. When you talk about the story about how you knew I wanted to serve you, they know you're committed. They know you're serious, and that's how you're building trust with your audience. So just to recap, pillars help with rotating topics, but key brand stories are how people remember your brand, and you want to tell stories in your feed at least twice a month. Whether it's a portion of a story or maybe you're bringing back kind of that story that you're known for. Bring that back frequently because that's how people will remember you. And honestly, you want people thinking of you while they're on social media, yes, but we also want people thinking of you while they're living their life outside of social media. That's true brand power. And then of course, hashtags, my favorite topic, because this is one of the biggest game changers. If you can get your new leaders to not do any of this shenanigans, it's going to make a big difference in getting in front of real people. When I say real people, I mean people not already in this industry. So removing all the Beachbody, network marketing, boss babe lingo. I laugh because I tell people to do this, but that's how I connect with people as I go through these hashtags myself. So eventually my goal is that that will no longer work for me. But by then, hopefully I'll be a household name and I won't need to. But getting rid of the lingo, because your prospect is not looking up 9-week control freak in a hashtag. They're not looking up 10 rounds. They're not looking up Shakeology. They're looking up, you know, blonde hair for fall. They're looking up, you know, quick meal, like quick crock pot meal, or summer, or now we're in fall, excuse me, fall healthy soups. They're looking up very specific words that are not related to what I like to call boss babe lingo, right? Like the things that, you know, diamond coach, super Saturday. They're not looking that up. So when you use it, what you're doing is just exposing your account to people who are doing the same thing you're doing, right? Like I love the Coach Summit hashtag. That's always one of my favorite parts of the year because of all the posts in there. But you're only going to find people like you and me there. So if you want to get in front of people who are not us, we got to switch up the hashtag game. So how do we do that? This is my favorite thing with hashtags, focusing on two main things: lifestyle and what people are bragging about. So as an example, right, people are loyal to Starbucks. They're going to constantly post about it. You can easily find people there. And then what do people want to brag about? People that get a Peloton and post a Peloton, they want you to know that they have a Peloton. They're using that hashtag, right? People go to Orange Theory. They want other people to know that they're going to Orange Theory. They're buying, I guess Tesla is the new hot thing. They want people to know that they have a Tesla. So what are they bragging and posturing themselves to their friends and family? Those are the hashtags that they're using. So is she a soccer mom? Does she have a Honda Odyssey? Where does she go out to eat? Is she going out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights? Those are the days to check those hashtags. So I like to look at it this way. If you want to go out and find people, you have to find where they're hanging out. And right now, especially in quarantine, people are trying to find anything they can to let other people know that they're doing okay, right? So they're buying all the things still. People are spending money, and that's where you're going to find them. Like people who have a Jeep are loyal to their Jeep. Is your person someone who would drive a Jeep? So start to think about some of those lifestyle and bragging things. That's how you can find people and put yourself in front of them to network and say hello. And so with hashtags, I like to create groups of hashtags for my posts that are related to those 5 pillars. So that's another reason why pillars are really honestly helpful for you, because you can create 5 hashtag groups, and every time you post to your feed, rotate through those hashtag groups. So you're not using the exact same hashtags all the time, because if you are, Instagram is a lot less likely to prioritize your content because they think you're posting the same old thing. And it's a computer, and they want new exciting content that's going to keep people on the platform longer. So with kind of getting into how can I get in front of people to talk about what I do? How can I be social, connect, build relationships? Right now, especially in 2020, women connecting with women. So if we have any men, I'm sorry, I'm not specifically talking to you with this framework here. But women want to be heard and understood, right? Especially being at home right now. If they have kids, it's mom, mom, mom. You know, it's like, no one's listening to me. What about my needs? So when you show up and ask their opinion and actually listen to understand instead of just listening to respond, she's going to put that wall down and she's going to be much more likely to talk to you. So I love asking people's opinion about a project I'm working on. I do it all the time. 2 main reasons. 1, it opens the door. Well, 3 reasons. 2, everything I create is basically told to me by my prospective client. It's what they need. They ask for a certain theme and a challenge. I create it. The Stop the Hair Girl Challenge came back because people wanted to go back to the basics. That's why I brought it back. It also, again, allows people to feel like they're a part of the process of what I'm creating. So if you're trying to decide on a framework or a theme for, let's say, 9-week control freak, because we want to start getting ready for winter. We want to start to plan and prep our audience. If you ask people their questions on, would you prefer this, or what would be more helpful, this or this? When they feel like they're a part of that process with you, they have affinity towards your group before you even announce it. So when you bring it to market and it's available, she's like, ooh, I helped with that. I was a part of that. I want to be a part of it to see it through. So especially with looking for challengers, that's one of the best ways to get people excited about buying something before it's even available. So that's one of my favorite sales tactics there. But honestly, when you talk to people, they tell you exactly what to create. So when you are in it with people like this, you should never wake up and say, what do I post today? Because you have people telling you, yeah, I think that would be good. Okay, this or that. Yeah, I think that would be more helpful. Boom, you can create both. But when Sally tells you that, hashtag tips are better than, social media or stories tips, when I create the hashtag tips, I'm back in Sally's DMs saying, oh, hey, do you see the post I created? I hope that's helpful. She's like, yes, that's helpful. And I also need help with this. Did you know I actually coach people on that? I have an offer that can help. Now we're opening the door about what it is I do, and that very well can lead to a sale if it's the right person. So with also, again, and we kind of just touched on this here, these are some scripts if you want to screenshot them, if they're helpful to kind of give you an idea on framework about getting in the DMs, creating something for them without expectations. It brings their wall down. They're going to be a lot less likely to be like, oh, she's just looking for a sale, I'm not going to pay attention to her. It's like, no, she's asking for an opinion. So I'm working on content for the week, and I was thinking about making the theme this or this. Like, what do you think would be more helpful? Because I know that, getting fit in Q4 is really important to you. I love that post on your feed, by the way. Boom, she tells you. Now you have a way to follow up. This is one of my favorite things when I started as well, and people had no idea who I was or what I was about. This was my main framework of building authority. So, hey, Sarah, I know we were talking about how you wanted help with low-fat meals for the end of the year. I actually just did an IGTV about my favorite recipes, and I wanted to make sure you saw it. If not, I can totally send you the link. And a lot of the time when I would follow up with people, I open the door. So they'd say, oh, by the way, I was also curious about that thing, that group or that course you were posting about. Can I get more information on it? Boom. Now you can get on the phone if you want to do on sales calls on the phone, or get on a Zoom or voice memo. Now you went from free value to talking about your offer. And then the next principle, this is one of my favorites too. I do this, like I'm literally about to be doing this for the next 2 days, is addressing objections in your content. So I'm sure if you've been in this business for any amount of time, you've received an objection at some point. And when you know it's coming and you know how to answer it, you can help address the objection. So when you are inviting in the DMs, they're not going to give you these lines because they already know that you have a response for it. And people are giving objections because they think you won't know how to respond. You're showing them that you do. So I'll buy during the next sale, or I'll buy during the next round. Talk about the regret. What's it going to cost you to wait until January to start working on your wellness journey? And I like to call people out point blank, especially in content, because it's not face-to-face and it's a little bit less threatening and scary, right? I don't have any money, or it's too expensive. Talking about the value of the transformation versus what they're going to get in the box. So how good is she going to feel? How is her life going to change? Because as we know, when we want something, we'll figure out how to make it happen if it's important enough to us, with some extenuating circumstances. I won't completely blanket statement it, but right, like if we want to go to Sephora to get that new foundation, but payday isn't until Friday, we're going to find a way. And so I love to tell people that. Imagine how good it's going to feel. How can I take their problem and make it a priority to fix the problem now? Painting the picture through storytelling is how you do that. And then of course with the business, right? I don't have time for the business, right? Challenge that belief. When you say you don't have time, what are you actually saying? And so when you challenge that belief and show if it's important enough, you will make time for it. They're going to face what the real objection is. And usually it is fear that I'm not good enough or fear that it won't work for me. And you can address that in your content as well. And then measuring impact in connections. So that's what I get a lot is, if I'm not looking at people as just a number, how do I measure impact so that I know I'm moving forward? So this is something that I personally do because I don't keep track of people on a list. If you do, like, that's cool. That's just never sat well with me. And the way that I keep my DMs organized is like this. I have my primary and my general inboxes. If you have a business or a creator account, your inbox looks like this. And so I keep primary for new connections. And then I will move existing clients, friends, family over to general. And then if it's not someone I want to talk to, delete. So that way I can keep track of who I'm talking to, maybe who I'm going back and forth about overcoming objections. And that container is separate from my general folder. And so I can see how many conversations do I have going. If a conversation dies, I delete it. If it's someone I don't want to work with, I delete it. So that's how I like to keep track. 1 to 2 weeks before entering a launch period, right? So if your launch period, let's say 9-week control freak, we're getting into that second week of December. About 1 to 2 weeks prior to that, you want to make these DM connections your focus. A lot of coaches that I work with wait until the day before it's open cart time, then they're in the DMs. It's like, no, we need time because we need to get them ready. They need to your prospect needs to decide that they're going to buy before it's available, because then you get to get them so excited and jazzed that they complete that share a cart right away. They've been like chomping at the bit waiting for it. If you wait till it's already available, it's really hard to incentivize them to be excited to take action because they're like, oh, well, it's available for everyone. I can just get it anytime. We want them to be super excited about getting it right away by warming them up 1 to 2 weeks prior to it being available. And then something else as well, if client retention is a big thing for you, if you have someone that maybe hasn't purchased in a long time, or someone who you're just so excited at the prospect of spending, time with, starting with, let's say 9-week control free because it's super relevant, start to create a list of people you'd love to private invite, or maybe someone who's been rocking it in a challenge group and you just are trying to get the courage to invite them to the business. Private invitations in the DMs is going to be one of the best ways to make someone feel special and introduce the business, because women, again, they want to feel, and one of the biggest things with sales, which I'm going to be creating a lot of sales content here coming up on Instagram, so I won't go too much into it because y'all are going to see it. Especially women selling to women, women want to feel special, nurtured, courted, like they're the only star in your sky. So how can you make them feel that way? Through private invites. Sarah, I'm wanting to mentor you in this business. I'm trying to think on the spot of lingo, because I want to be able to help you achieve blank, right? It's what's in it for them. It's not, I think you'd be great for my team. Everyone would love you. It's like, that's not what's in it for her. Sarah, I want to help you get what you want, and this is how I'm going to do it. And the private invitation route is going to blow your mind. So I'm going to create tons of content on that, guys. So have no fear. I wanted to have time for questions, and we're perfect on time. But if you don't hate my voice and want to listen to me more, this is where you can find me on video version and audio version. I always forget to talk about my podcast, so I had to add a slide in about that because we're almost passing 100,000 downloads, and I'd love to hit that soon. Shameless self-plug. So Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, and then YouTube. It's my new baby. But let me check the chat because I had to block it because otherwise I would stare at it. Let me pull that now. Yes, I love seeing High School Musical fans. God, I can't believe how many years it's been. It's still the best Disney Channel movie. I'd fight anyone who would disagree. Yes, thanks guys. But does anyone have like specific questions or like things that you're stuck on and you're just like, God, I can't get past this block? I'd love to tackle a few of those.
Kayla, I'll ask a question while maybe some people are trying to type some in the chat if they have them. Recently, Erin and I found this website called Flickr where you can type in a hashtag and then it goes through and it gives you a groupings of hashtags that have medium competition, low competition, or high competition. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Okay, I was gonna ask you what your opinion is, because to me it's like, seems like a dream come true. I just got my 5 groupings of hashtags in 20 minutes, right? But I just thought if you had any feedback
Yeah,
on if it's
try
effective.
it. And if it works,
Yeah.
awesome. The biggest thing to me with hashtags is I love that that ranks it by, popularity for the sake of competition. I like to do a mixture of smaller ones and bigger ones. Most of my hashtags I try to keep between 10,000 and 200,000. As you find that you're gaining traction of people who like, ooh, these are dream clients and I'm signing them, maybe sprinkle in some bigger ones to see if your content can compete. But what I found is you have a greater chance of getting reach via hashtag with smaller ones, of course, the competition factor, and because you can likely stay on the recent or on the top for longer. So it increases likelihood of more eyes.
I like that. Okay, we got a couple in there.
Can minis training be any content? I mean, honestly, yes. I like to make it super relevant to what people are going through in the present time. And honestly, most of my mini trainings are fueled by like someone posting something in my free community. And I'm like, ooh, that's good. I'll do a training on it. And then usually I'll end up doing a podcast on it too. Content repurposing is my favorite. But really, like, what is it that something can get excited about taking and using? So it doesn't have to be ultra related. Like I also give kind of tips about like a mini training or like giving value. Like I always love to remind people on Wednesdays, which of course I forgot today, terrible, that like Dunkin' Donuts, you get a free coffee in the app. So like I'll remind people like, by the way, go get your free coffee. That's value. Someone's going to be like, thanks to Kayla, I got a free coffee. I love her like 2% more than I did the day before. So little things, don't overthink it. Just like, how can I give someone something that they can take and use? Reels versus IGTVs per week. Reels, I would aim to create between 4 and 9 per week. And you can put a ton out on one day or spread them out. Because right now, it's still so new. It's a lot of testing to see what works for you. IGTVs, I mean, I would say I do like 1 per week on average, maybe a little less often. Because I do create a lot of video content and a lot of it is going on YouTube right now. But definitely with IGTVs, if you can keep them shorter, between 3 to 5 minutes, you could probably record a video, chop it up, and have like a month's worth of content done in one shot. Do you DM a hello message to people who start to follow you? No, and I don't recommend doing it because we'll give a nice analogy. You go into Starbucks and you kind of like accidentally make eye contact with person. You're kind of staring at them. And then if they come up to you and say, hi, oh, it's so nice to meet you. My name's Bob and blah, blah, blah. You're going to be like, slow down, tiger. So maybe not be like as aggressive. I would probably go and like maybe love on their content and check them out a little bit first. And if I'm going to DM them, I want to have a reason that's about them. Like I'm responding to a story and answering a question or complimenting, they posted a new family photo shoot, complimenting the pictures. So that again, it's about them and it's not about me. Email lists. The biggest thing with email lists is if it seems like it's going to be overwhelming, I would at least outsource the setup so that it isn't eating up a ton of your time, because email lists are awesome. And of course, since we don't own social media and we do own our email list, I think it's important to start the process of. But I recommend honestly repurposing content into emails to start. So it shouldn't take you that much extra time once you have it set up. The best way to start the initial hello. Yeah, like being a human, like I want to find a way to start a conversation that makes it about them. So I will wait until it's something I can genuinely give like a response to. So usually it's not that hard. I attract people who are like, they're posting about Hallmark Christmas movies right now because they just started. So I can be like, holy crap, I watch every single Hallmark Christmas movie. So I wait for it to be natural and easy, because if you have to force it, it starts the relationship on a weird note. And I want everything to feel good and be in flow. So I like to keep it organic. How many is too many posts on one topic? I mean, I built my business talking a lot about the same topic, just talking about the topic in different ways. So I don't think there's a way to talk about it too much, because keep in mind, not everyone is seeing all of your stuff all the time. So you're always going to have different people. outsource the setup. So there are people who like set up like email like funnels for you. So like the sequence, like you write the emails and they'll like get it set up so that you can have an incentive to bring people to your email. So the biggest thing with an email list too is you want people to opt in. You do not want to be just adding customers to an email list. They have to opt in. So you want some sort of like resource or incentive for them to give permission to give the name and email for them to be on your list. So that's something like I definitely recommend, especially with social media sometimes being as unpredictable as it is. It could definitely be a great time and money investment for you. For CRM, I mean, I don't really like keep track of people. I am going to start using like Dubsado for like client onboarding because right now my team and I do it manually and it's kind of silly. But I don't really I don't keep track of like prospects. Like with clients, I use Google Drive for a lot of things, keeping track of them in there. But I know a lot of people like things like, what is it, like Google Street people like. So it's really about a system that works well for you. I have some clients that use like Erin Condren planners. Like whatever is the best system to manage people is the one that you'll use. Saving time on your day and not being on social media all day. So I'm not gonna lie, I get very easily distracted, very. So what I should do honestly is delete the apps that are sucking up my time. But I do turn off all notifications. The only thing I keep notifications on for are Voxer with my private clients and then Slack for my group programs. Like no Facebook, no Messenger, no Instagram, no TikTok, and that helps. And I think the biggest time is to like give yourself 3 tasks a day that you're going to accomplish and make them the most important, and then just get those done. So that way if distractions hit, it's during maybe not as important tasks, because right, we got to move the needle forward. So what are the things they're going to ensure that happens? Is it hooking up your phone on the charger in the other room while you're sitting at your desk? Whatever is necessary. There are like Chrome extensions that can kill your newsfeed. So especially in the season that we're in, if the Facebook feed is going to distract you and you're going to end up fighting with people, turn that shit off so that you can get work done on your business. Christy, that's a great question. If you want to go look at some of my highlights, especially my Instagram tips one, you can see some from when I started. Definitely not natural, very newscaster Sally, very forced. But the way you get more natural is you just do it. And one of my favorite tips that I love talking about is I like to treat video like I'm talking to one of my best friends. And so like I have inflection and like I extend certain words and I say certain things. So I keep that like very normal. Like how I talk in real life is how I talk on video. And if I catch myself being like not me, then I'm like, okay, what's going on? Am I doubting myself? And then work through it. That's really important to me. Yeah. So yeah, people use like Google Streak and stuff. Again, like my follow-up system with prospects is honestly like my primary folder in Instagram. Cause like it's, if there's like a scheduled appointment for a follow-up, it goes in my calendar. But if someone and I are just going back and forth, I keep it in there, which I mean, I'm not talking to so many people at a time, I'm not going to lie, where it's difficult to manage. I'd say it's pretty good. And then let's say if it's a season where things are busy, like let's say, because I'm launching right now the Stop the Hey Girl method, I have my team like, oh, hey, Sarah asked a question, like, don't forget to respond to her. And they help keep me on task. But for the most part, I don't need that. I can do it myself. Thank you. I'm so glad you love the challenge. Like I was dead over the weekend. So people are like, how do you do it? I'm like, I give my all to it. And then I crawl into a hole and die on the weekend, but it's always worth it. Any major trends for 2021? I mean, video is still huge. Like branded graphics have been something that's really been taking off. Some people are saying that brand is dead. I will fight that till I die. Because again, brand is everything. Like Target, Starbucks, Peloton, like brand is everything. So that is something big. And it's more than just colors. That's why I didn't talk to you about that stuff, because that's also not my forte. Brand is also Like your company, your brand, like your business. Who are you and what do you stand for? Because that's what people are going to remember. That's right there with stories. So yeah, like educational infographics, those are really big as well. Carousels, those have been important, but they're getting even more important. So giving free value in the form of a carousel. I mean, Reels is huge, but Reels is huge because of video. So video is still the biggest thing. Like talking to your stories like you're talking to one person, especially with just the way the world is, we are craving connection. And when you talk on stories like you're talking to your whole audience, they can't make that same connection. So if you want to connect to your audience and have them feel like they know you, that little thing is going to change the game. I have a bunch of drafts of my reels when I went to post them. Ooh, that's interesting. That I do not know, but I'll definitely look into it. I don't see why, but I haven't had mine in there longer than 2 weeks. So I'll definitely look into that and post about it if I get more information. A new coach. Hey, so glad you're here. When should I be trying to launch a brand? So here's the thing, Marianne. Don't put pressure on yourself. Your brand is built over time. Like it starts with, who are you? Like if I were to say like, Marianne, who are you? Like, how would you respond to that? Maybe that's hard to answer because sometimes we don't think about ourselves and we don't know. So I would just start there. And then from there, who are you here to help? And as you show up and as you share your journey, you learn more about what your brand's going to look like. So when you keep showing up, sister, that's where it's going to come from. So I'm glad you're here. Any other questions, guys? Great topics. Thank you. Yes, it's like, I'm so excited for the surgery to be done, but I feel like I've been so busy, I haven't been able to think about it, which is cool. Less stress. Checking to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Honestly, you are
Yes.
incredible. So many good
Thank
ideas.
you.
And I know that this recording will be rewatched many, many, many times. Cool. Love your makeup lives. That's awesome. And honestly, Kayla made an incredible point. I still haven't gone live yet, but I'm going to about, going live not being so scary and how you're really just trying to get in the front of people's bubble and be relevant. And, can you elaborate maybe a little bit more on that point? Because I really loved it and it inspired me to want to do it.
Yeah, I love that. So like with lives, I know a lot of people experience fear because like, what if one person comes or two people come? And the biggest thing with lives is the magic isn't in people coming live. Like if they come, cool, but the power in it is that when you go live, unless people turned your notifications off, they get notified. Like, Courtney is going live. And then while you're live, your bubble is moved to the front of their story lineup. So when I go live, I don't care if anyone wants to come and watch me do my makeup. I come because I want people to constantly see my name. Like I go live like 3 times a week. And so people start to see me and then they think of me and they're like, oh, right, Kayla has that course that I need to go and buy, right? So it's staying in the front of people's minds. And I recommend, if anything, just do a live doing something that you enjoy. Sometimes I do live and just shoot the breeze folding laundry. And I do my makeup and it's literally the same thing every day. I'm a creature of habit. And people, honestly, they do start to come on. I have people that come on and do their makeup while I do my makeup. And so it kind of starts to build a community. But again, that's like a byproduct. That's not the point. So don't be afraid about if anyone isn't going to come on or if they think you're weird. It's just come on and be you, because the power is the fact that you're just on live. And then I saw we had a couple more questions. When I post on Instagram stories, it cuts me off. That is a glitch that happens sometimes. I'd be curious to know what kind of phone you have, Tammy. Because it's happened to me a couple times recently, but usually if I just quit and go out or update the app, it helps. So I think it's definitely a glitch. Yes, Androids, they have been having a lot more problems. I am team iPhone. But I think it is a known Android problem, so I'm hoping they're doing something about it. I know it's annoying, but what you can do is record on the video, like your video app, and then just upload. And that should be able to allow you to do the sequence. I tend to ramble on lives. it doesn't matter. Ramble. Talk how you talk, be who you are. Because I'm doing my makeup for like 20 minutes. I'm definitely rambling. And I don't share them to my feed, like those ones, because of course it's like, that wasn't the goal. I don't want people to go back and rewatch it. I just wanted them to know I was live. If you're teaching on something, then yeah, maybe make that one into an IGTV. But I make maybe 1 out of every 7 lives into an IGTV. Most of mine are just BS for fun. I'm on Android, currently can't use. No, that's the worst, Candace. What a great opportunity to switch teams to iPhone. Awesome, guys. And then I see, Katie, you had a great question too. Biggest tip when asking someone to join you, what's in it for them? You have to be able to say, like, Courtney, I'm so excited to be able to help you get blank, which is what she told me she wants. Because if it's like, I'm so excited for you to get this thing, it's like, she's like, cool, but like, what's in it for me? So that's my biggest tip. What's in it for them? Because that's going to get them excited to buy. And we want someone excited to buy, because that's how really the biggest secret for client retention. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. If everybody wants to find Kayla, you can go follow her on Instagram, spell her crazy last name. Maybe she'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah.
And her podcast, which I've only listened to like maybe 5 episodes, and they were all incredible. So I know that you guys will learn a ton if you go check out her podcast too. So Kayla, thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate you. So much value for us and the team. And yeah, I hope you have a great night and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks so much, guys. You too. Courtney, we'll chat soon. Bye.
Okay, bye. Wow, she has a lot to offer. And I found, you know, when I started watching some of her content, like, well, mostly I guess with the 5-day challenge, I left the 5-day challenge overwhelmed. So if any of you guys are feeling overwhelmed, or if you left the 5-day challenge overwhelmed, know that I've been thinking about this for months and months and months, and I was still overwhelmed. Because the premise around what she does is changing things from the way I've done it. It makes me feel insecure when I look at my feed and I don't feel like I've offered any value to anyone. Makes me feel insecure when I go into a direct message and I see that I've messaged this girl 3 times and it was basically cold, and I have no idea what her goals are or why she would want to join me and what's in it for her. So some of the things that Kayla is saying to us might feel uncomfortable. It might be like 4 to 9 reels a week. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, whoa, slow down, you know? But if we can take a couple things, if you can implement just a couple things from what she is telling us, I think we will be better off. I literally lost sleep the night after her 5-day challenge ended. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was up thinking about, like, what am I gonna post to my content? How am I gonna make this pivot? What am I gonna do a reel about? I hate them, like all the things, right? But as the days are progressing, as I'm changing the way I'm having these conversations and I'm changing the way I'm posting, it's really, really feeling good. It's feeling more authentic, and I feel like I'm giving more value to my audience. Marianne, Reels it's like a new Instagram feature. So if you go to post your story, at the bottom, it's going to say story or reel, and I forget what the other one is. And it's basically like a 15-second clip where you can make things up. So if you go to your explore page, so when you're on Instagram, if you go to the magnifying glass, this first bubble, sort of hard to see, the first bubble up here is a video. That's a reel. If you click on that video, and now you just start going like this, you're just going to be seeing people's reels. So you can get an idea of what they are. So it's the video, the top video in your feed. Those are reels. A lot of them are embarrassing. My first cup, I still feel slightly, 100% I still feel embarrassed about it. But we're only get better by doing. So I would just start to think of some valuable things that you can do, and loop in what we did like last week, like viral, vulnerable, value, those 3 types of posts, loop into all the things that she's talking about that we're continuing to learn, you know? I was almost hesitant to have her on because I'm like, oh, I feel like the past bunch of team calls have been like training, do this, do this, do this, do this. But just keep in mind, if you can implement one small thing from any team call, that's a win, right? Yeah, Sarah, you've been doing them. That's been awesome. You haven't done any yet because you feel so embarrassed. Like, welcome to the club. Erin and I were talking today. She's like, oh my God, my story viewers are a little bit down. And I was like, yeah, me too. But I haven't done a single freaking reel. And I know that that's what's driving story viewers up because that's where people are right now, right? So am I self-sabotaging my own engagement, right? Took me 45 minutes to do my first reel. I honestly spent like 40 minutes on the reel today. I went into Canva and I created, you can type in Instagram reel and you can create it right in there. But that's the content that I'm putting out to my audience. That's the value I just gave my audience for today. You know, a workout reel, same as workout stories, super easy way to start. It is an easy way to start. I would encourage you to get outside of your workout content though, and to do different things. But agree, just doing something and just posting one is huge and is an incredible start. All right, guys. Does anybody have any recognition they want to share? I just want to, you know, Erin and I order a ton of different sisterhood stuff, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to all the diamond leaders on this team who inspire every single woman in this group and on this coach page and in our diamond chat and collaborate and share material and all those things. And they're starting to trickle in now. We got you guys all a camo hoodie, and it's like just a small token, but we really just in this time wanted to make sure that every single one of you guys, we see you. I don't care if you're diamond today or if you dropped 2 weeks after you hit it, every single one of you matter and count, and got that hoodie and just a card just to say like, thanks for doing this together with us because we see you. So congrats to you guys. And if anybody has any recognition, and we have a couple minutes left, take yourself off mute.
So I'll take a quick minute just to shout out one of my coaches, Amy Zugi, who has been killing it. After a gentle nudge of stop the training, start doing, she has like just completely dove off the deep end. And I am so, so proud of you, Amy. Like, keep doing the big scary things.
Can you guys hear me? Is my mic working?
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to Shelly Lonis. She started coaching with me a few months ago. She hit Emerald last week, but I wasn't on the call, so I wanted to send her some love today. Shelly has started in a tough time, right? The last couple months have been tough for all of us, and her focus has been on giving value. So she started a free community, and she's been focusing on value, even though she's not getting people flooding in the doors right away. And she's just so positive about it, and she knows that the work she's putting in now is going to pay off later. So I'm just so proud of her, and she inspires me to do that too. So way to go, Shelly.
I have a quick one for Katie Forsyth, who I think that's how you say her last name, who went Emerald. Her coach Mairead is not on the call, so I wanted to shout out Katie. Congrats to you for going Emerald.
I'll just take a quick second to probably on behalf of everyone, thank you and Erin for the sweaters. They mean so much to us, and we're so excited to get them. We are all so truly blessed to be on this team with you guys. You are both fierce leaders, and we love you both.
Aw, thanks, Jackie. We're lucky, guys. Not a lot of teams have this type of culture. Like, we are lucky. It's not because of Erin. It's not because of me or any single one of you. It's because good people know good people. And that's why this team is growing like crazy. And that's why this team is beautiful, because good people know good people. And we're surrounding ourselves with each other. So I love that. All right, guys. Have an awesome night. We'll see you soon.